So hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I'm here today with my wife next to me, Lucy, and we thought we'd try a video together for once. Just a little background. So we live in southwest of England. We have two children, Benji who's 9 and Rowan who is 5. We have an interesting situation where actually we home educate Benji and Rowan is just finished reception in school. This came out of a situation where Benji 3 years ago was struggling a bit at school. He's dyslexic, was just finding it hard to grasp reading and concentrating in class. The issue we have is that the boys' dynamics at the moment, one being 5, one being 9, is they do tend to fight, which causes quite a lot of stress and anxiety, as you probably understand. So we thought, why not? Let's do a video on surviving summer holidays, because a lot of people would just assume that with home education it doesn't really matter about holidays, but that isn't the case, because many of the home ed events or things that Benji does, they don't happen during the holidays. So he does forest school on a Thursday, which is obviously brilliant for him connecting with nature. And then on he also does a thing called the Phoenix Project in Frome, which is like a bit like a forest school.
Yeah, they have forest school elements.
Yeah.
And there are other things as well, arts and crafts and cookery and just lots of different subjects. But they both just run in term time. I think most people don't realise that really when it comes to home ed, it still very much follows the school term times. So for most things, when it's the school holidays, things shut down. The usual like meetups and things generally don't really happen. Yeah, so Rowan's at a holiday club today. He's doing a holiday club just one day a week throughout most of the summer holidays. So he's at that today, and Benji is with his grandparents today because he had a theatre show last night.
So we thought we'd do a video on surviving the summer holidays, because it's something that so many parents do struggle with, and understand that quite often the situation is that both parents work and they're just trying to get through the week. So we thought we'd just talk a bit about, also not just about how we help the children, but also ourselves, because our own mental health is so important. And obviously I work full time in a sort of office-based job at home, so I can be around to assist. You're a stay-at-home mum, but you also have a business, don't you?
I built my own website and got that up and running fairly recently, and just trying to fit bits in around the boys, which when it comes to the school holidays is trickier.
So what's your business?
So I'm a holistic life coach. I'm also a mind-body practitioner, though most people don't know what that is. It's sort of somatic work. And I'm also a meditation teacher.
So hopefully you use some of those elements with the children and with yourself, I suppose.
Yeah, though I have to say it's a bit harder doing stuff with your own children because they invariably don't want to listen to you. Having someone else do that kind of work with them, they're probably more likely to listen.
How do you think you're coping, like, so far? What, we 3 weeks in now?
Yeah,
2
we're
weeks?
kind of we're definitely at the midpoint.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how?
Yeah, pretty well, because I think I was probably quite good in that I organised things in advance. So both boys have something in the week where they're doing something out of the house separate to their brother and from us. So they're both doing a drop-off a week on different days, which is great for them, but obviously means I don't normally have any time without children then. And so Benji's doing falconry one day a week, so that's something quite different to what he'd normally do. I think he really enjoys it, and it's with a load of home ed kids. I think there might be the odd child who is a schoolgoer, and Rowan's doing a holiday club, and one of his best friend from school goes there. So he's having lots of fun as well. Yeah, the thing is that it's quite nice in that it gives each boy time with me without the other one there, which I feel feels such a difference. The energy with them is really, really different. And actually then it means that we can carry on doing our learning, what I suppose most people would call schooling, but I don't like to use that word, with Benji when Rowan's not around. And it means then I get to do more educational stuff with Rowan as well. So yeah, kind of carry on doing our reading, bit of writing, maths and other stuff, and kind of learning about nature. And just, we've got so many books at home. They're actually both quite interested in just pulling out a book and having a look at things, and they ask questions and we look stuff up. And just more time to kind of go on walks and do fun things. Yeah, so actually so far I've quite enjoyed it, apart from the first few days. The first few days were tricky, and I could see that they have a kind of dynamic where they do argue quite a bit and they can be quite physical over the last year or so. But it's funny, in the last few weeks that does seem to have shifted a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're sort of backing off each other. If it tends not to escalate so quickly now, I've noticed. And Benji's got a little bit better at not retaliating, and he's also not trying to prod his brother.
Whether physically or verbally.
Yeah.
He likes to do it verbally.
They like to give each other insults. So we're trying to get them outside. Obviously, I think you've been down to the beach.
Yeah, we did that last week. And he's got a slight thing about sort of sensory thing of anything on his feet. But I noticed
common,
that
isn't it?
Yeah, but I noticed that after that, the next day being at home, and we've got a reasonable sized sandpit in the garden, he was then in the sandpit without any sandals on, which he wouldn't normally do. Both boys were playing in there barefoot and running around the garden barefoot, which Rowan will do all the time, but Benji doesn't like to. That was nice that he'd obviously kind of, I don't know, sort of desensitised a bit to it and was more comfortable to do that.
Rowan's been running around barefoot for years since he's little.
Yeah, since he learnt to walk.
I mean, everybody was surprised how amazing he was at running on gravel on like broken up tarmac because our driveway's a bit had it. And he's built up some good calluses on his feet, I guess.
He's quite hardy in that sense. So he does get a lot of grounding in most days when he's not at school.
So that's, I think, really beneficial to them. I think, say like going to the beach, they were out in the water, bare feet in the sand last week. We try to have like you said, a curriculum around nature. So, which is quite important, because I think that if they get too much time in front of a television, which is quite easy to do, or a screen, it kind of sends them a bit loopy, doesn't it? And they kind of get almost like addicted to it and want to. So we had a couple of days recently where we let them play Minecraft on the Nintendo. It's trying to drag them away from it. It's quite hard.
Rowan Long got quite obsessed with it.
Yeah.
But I have to say, we don't use a curriculum. I do have curriculums, but I don't rigidly follow anything. No. I very much like to follow their interests, and will notice the seasons. And I just like to subtly point things out or answer their questions when we go out on walks.
Well, we might take a little book with us, or we might see something the day before and then go, oh yeah, we'll get the book and bring it out. We'll take a photograph of it, and then we'll go home and try and identify the insect or the tree or the plant. I mean, the other thing that Benji particularly likes is he likes picking blackberries, and so that's a brilliant way of getting him out. And it's like I say, it's very lucky actually, because actually blackberries would normally be a bit later on, but because we've had such dry period, they've come a bit earlier this year. So I think that's quite a good mindfulness trick for children. If they're going out foraging and they're picking blackberries, they're just focusing on picking those blackberries. And I think that's quite helpful, isn't it?
They do love to do that. I have to say, Rowan has grown up, even Benji, to picking blackberries. I remember when Rowan was like about 1, we couldn't go out on a walk. I couldn't get very far from the house before he started making noises and insisting that I pick blackberries and trying to reach them himself, even though he couldn't quite, he's very wobbly on his feet still. I
think, like I say, blackberries, you can get them everywhere. You don't necessarily need to live like in the countryside. Again, because they're slowing down, they're taking in elements around them, and I think that really helps. And then you can always make something, can't you? Like
Yeah.
made some ice cream, didn't we?
Yeah, I made a blackberry sauce with some raw honey and blackberries that had been picked, and a bit of lemon juice, and yeah, and then I made blackberry ripple ice cream, which we've been enjoying. The boys love.
And we went for a walk yesterday and we found a nice tree, didn't we? We try and encourage them to like touch the trees because they can, you know, it's not always practical to take your shoes off, especially with the children. But we took our shoes off and we just sat under these 2 trees that are right next to each other, almost like, though I think they may have been touching in places, and had one hand on each. I mean, that's a very good way of, obviously for us as parents, we need to make sure we look after ourselves. And not just focus on the children, because it's very easy to burn out and over the summer holidays when especially if you're both working. We're lucky that we have that flexibility, although we are home educating, so that's obviously takes up a lot of time. But
also their grandparents have been getting involved.
yes, so
taking them out for a few hours here and there, like once or twice a week.
Yeah, so that's good, and they tend to take them somewhere that's fairly sort of natural, wild, and like, I mean, they went to Stourhead, didn't they, which is like a National Trust site.
Yeah, they've got a big play area there. They like going there, so they'll spend a few hours running around outside playing games.
It's an easy one for the grandparents, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
deck chairs there for the grandparents or parents to sit down while the kids run around.
But it's important, like I say, for us as parents, if you're watching this, to sort of, well, even if you're not a parent, just to make sure that you have those moments. Like you like to, one of your favourite things is taking your shoes off. Well, you're not favourite things, but is putting the washing on the.
An easy way of getting some grounding in, and a bit of, well, depends how noisy if the children are outside. Not a bit of quieter time is picking out the washing. And if you've got a big load, well, that can take easily at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I always do it barefoot. I need to get better at doing it in the winter.
That's something that we can explore this year.
Most of the year round, I peg out the washing barefoot, even if it's raining. It's kind of wet on the ground and a bit miserable. I always do it barefoot.
That's an easy win, I think, isn't it? And just making a hot drink, a cup of tea or something, and just sitting outside for like 5 minutes.
Or going up to the hens.
Yeah.
That's sometimes I take my phone with me and maybe listen to a podcast or something, but quite often I like to go up there. I just go up there and see my ladies and muck them out, because I normally do that every day. Give them some food. Sometimes one of the boys will come with me and collect the eggs, and I'll give them some food. And actually, they used to whinge about it, but they both quite like going up there, and they stroke them and they talk to them, and they love giving them food.
Yeah, definitely. And that's obviously a really good one, to get them out first thing in the morning. So come on, boys, let's get out. Even if they're in their pyjamas, just get them to put some sandals or shoes on, because you don't want to wear barefoot around where the hens are.
No.
And you obviously make sure we wash their hands when we get back inside. But that's a really easy win, I think, not all of you are going to have chickens, obviously, or hens. Just get them outside, doing something practical.
Benji likes to pick things from the polytunnel. He loves to do it when he stays with my parents. My dad's got quite a big polytunnel, and he loves to go and pick things, and he helps, I don't know, like pod things, or collect seeds. He likes to do that kind of thing. He'll very often do it in his pyjamas first thing in the morning.
Yeah, stones, pebbles as well.
He loves collecting acorns. I think when we were kind of sitting or standing with those 2 trees that we found the other day, the boys were digging a hole and just kind of inspecting around the trees. I got them to have a look at the leaves, and I asked them if they could find the oak leaves for me, because there was an oak tree and a beech tree, but all you could see were the beech leaves. So just give them little sort of scavenger hunts to do, a few ideas of what you can see around you, what can they notice.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's good, because there are some good sort of sensory tricks that if you're not feeling very grounded or connected to yourself, just to notice what you can, maybe just 5 things. It's that, what you can notice in your environment around you, what can you feel, what can you hear. Like here we can hear the stream, we can feel the grass that's really quite tough because it's been so scorched by the sun. What can you smell?
Have you got anything you want to, additional things you want to say? I think,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when people, I don't really like the term self-care. I feel like it sounds a bit, I don't know, too trendy, way too overused. It can also sound a bit indulgent. Whereas I feel like it should just be things that are really simple, really connect to you, and it doesn't have to be, having a spa day or, going to get your nails done. I'm not that kind of person. If you saw my nails, they're horrendous.
you've ever
I
had your
don't
nails
care.
done?
No, never in my entire life, not even for our wedding day. I was a rower at the time, so my hands probably looked an absolute
Oh, I used to
state.
hate holding your hands. It was like covered in blisters. Ugh.
No, for me, it's like spending literally a few minutes doing a sun salutation in the morning, which I did do this morning. Things like that have kind of slipped a bit in the summer holidays, I have to say. Yeah, I'm just getting back to using my weights again after being a bit lazy for a few weeks. It's just things to give yourself a few minutes to. It can be connecting with nature, or it can be just kind of checking in with yourself. I mean, just doing a minute or two of intentional breathing.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us don't really use our full diaphragm when we breathe. And maybe if you stopped and checked in with yourself and realised how you were breathing, maybe you'd realise that you're a bit maybe there's a bit of anxiety there.
Yeah.
And just ask yourself how you're feeling.
Hmm.
When was the last time you stopped and thought about yourself? Because I know, like, the summer holidays, there's a lot about how the kids happy. What are they doing? Are you keeping them busy? Are you doing enough? And like, well, sometimes you can be doing too much. Maybe they need a bit of downtime and a bit of quiet time. Just go for a walk or sit on the sofa and read a book, or, if you've got a nice garden, sit out in your garden and read a few books. Sometimes we take a blanket and we just take some books and sit outside. Rather than always having to do so much. The idea of having to keep up with everyone else, it's like, well, why?
Going on these expensive holidays and whatnot.
That's not us at all. We don't do that.
No, we don't. We'd rather spend time on simpler things, like what the foods we eat. Not that we've got lots of money, we've mainly one income at the moment. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into our own lives and some things that you can take into your own life during these tricky few weeks, because I don't think they necessarily have to be tricky if you get things right and look after yourself. Take your shoes off whenever you can and get on the bare feet, stand on the grass.
Yeah, bare feet on the ground. I have to say, when as soon as the weather warms up, I don't really wear anything on my feet most of the time.
Oh geez, this summer, I mean, I've only worn socks once. Now it's
No.
because I was playing golf, 9 holes in golf, and then as soon as I finished, I almost thought about playing barefoot golf. That would be interesting. Yeah, if this really interests you, then, and if you want to hear more from the two of us, just myself, then let us know. And then keep like and subscribe. And as always, let's get grounded.
Yeah, then you're like, oh, it's nice and cloudy, and then it's like within a minute or so the sun came out.
Yeah.